Good afternoon, Earth Angels. Brother Gil here. Welcome to this episode of Conversation with and I Am Creation. I'm ecstatically excited today. We have a very special guest, a very southern gentleman. You'll see by his sense of humor and that beautiful smile on his face. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome to Conversation with Mr. Terry Ellis, aka T. Ellis. Terry, how are you, man? Welcome to Conversation with.
I am doing good. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy for you to be here. I'm just thrilled. And so you are an amazing human being, if I may say so. You have come through many, many seasons of life and wonderful living. So, would you mind introducing yourself to those who are seeing you for the first time and hearing that wonderful voice for the first time? Give us a little bit about who T. Ellis is.
Okay, my name is Terry Ellis. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, by way of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. From
Okay.
Baton Rouge to Columbus, Georgia now.
Ah,
I met
Georgia
Mr.
in the
Gill.
house.
I met Mr. Gill some months ago, and we discussed being on here, and I'm very excited to be here. So I'm ready for combo.
Yay. So, see, Conversation with, as most of you know, is all about healing and then rejoicing. I started this, it evolved from a support site that I created because I had a stroke in November of last year. And I needed somewhere to go that I can kind of connect with other people and get some support, whatever. And I couldn't find anything locally. So the Spirit said, well, start something, start one. And I did. I Am Creation Stroke Survivor Support Group Dallas is how this talk show evolved. And so it's all about healing and the support and the love and the community of helping those of us who are dealing with new events. Mine is just 10 months ago, but some people have been in their recovery much longer. But this conversation with is a way of us talking to survivors. And Mr. Ellis is also a survivor who has done tremendous things on the other side of his event. So we are here today to just talk and share some of those Southern anecdotes and really get a feel for who he is and how he has become the great man that he is on the other side of having had an event of stroke. So, Terry, how long ago, if I may ask, was it, since we never really discussed that element, that you had your event of stroke?
It's been about, I think, like right at 10 years ago.
10 years. Wow. Okay. This is great because now most of the people that I have talked with, theirs were a little bit more recent and like maybe 5. They were spaced out. A couple of people had 2 strokes, like 17 years apart, 8 years apart. So within that 10-year frame, can you share with us some of the process, starting, if you can remember, the early stages, such as what I've been going through recently, of having survived the stroke, the strength and the tenacity it took in your faith and in your strength to know that you are recovering. What kind of things did you experience looking back that can probably motivate newly challenged persons who may be listening?
Okay. First, I was in the hospital about 29 days.
Mm.
Well, let's just say a month.
A month. Okay. Yeah.
And from the hospital, I ended up in two different rehabs, learning how to walk again.
Yes.
I never had a problem with speech,
That's a blessing.
but my memory, I had to regain my thinking process.
Mm-hmm.
And upon being into rehabs, they basically taught me how to walk again because they realized that's basically what I needed.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, you know how sometimes you feel you just can't do it, and
Mm-hmm.
your subconscious mind is telling you you can't do this, but
Right.
your body's saying I'm too weak. So
Mm.
I just kept going and going and going, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I
Yes.
ended up on my walker, for like a month, but I was so determined. I got off the walker after a month, and I ended up on my cane. And from 10 years up until today, I no longer use the walker. I only use a cane. I can actually walk without my walker, but when
Mm.
I put on shoes, I don't walk too well.
I hear you.
So, having said that, I am really good. I'm back from about 50% to about 90.
Praise
So,
God.
who's ever out there that needs to be encouraged, you can do this.
Yes.
You really can. All you have to do is have a determined mind.
Mm. See, you took that right out of my spirit. It's the mindset because for the most part, we have survived the worst part. We survived the worst part. We are here. And
That's right.
depending on the viability of the effect of the stroke on your physical body, temple, the rest is just a matter of determination, of deciding in our minds that I had this event, the stroke, but the stroke is not going to have me.
That's right.
That's what I feel from you, Terry, that you decided very early that no, I am going to get myself moving back to as much of myself as I can. So you
Yes,
were in the
sir.
hospital for a month. You had to learn to walk again. I remember growing, excuse me, through that myself. Did you have what was the most difficult part about taking that first step? I know for myself it was kind of difficult, but what do you recall having to physically and spiritually and mentally produce in you for taking that first step? Do you remember that?
My first fear was, how do I get out of this bed
Yes.
and put my feet down on the floor and say I can do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, my subconscious mind is saying you can't do this because you're weak.
Mm.
And the Terry, that southern part of me,
Yes.
Mr. Gill always say that southern part of me, it
Yeah.
came out. And I put my feet down, I put them together, and I was on my walker. My first fear was, am I gonna fall?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, if I do, I can still get up
Yes. Yes. Yes.
and I can try this again. But that was my biggest fear of falling down. And
Yes.
trust me, having said that, even after I was getting better, I still fell down a lot because I was so
Okay.
determined to do things without a cane and
Yes.
a
On
walker.
your
But
own.
that's how you teach yourself.
Yes. That's a
You have to have
discipline.
a determined mind and a determined spirit.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I love so your first steps you took without the assistance of your PT instructors or your nurses or whatever. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Glory to God. That's Terry,
All
that's
I did was held on to the walker and I just stood there for like about maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And they was
yes.
encouraging me, you can do this. So the fear was putting that right foot first in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I did that, I said, wow, maybe I can really do this. So
Mm-hmm.
I just kept going and I made about 5 or 6 steps. But then at this point, they had to catch me, because I
Yes.
was getting very weak. But I said, wow, I did 5 steps the first day.
Definitely.
So that was great progress for me
Yes,
having
it
been in the
was.
bed for
Oh
30
my
days.
gosh. Wow. Because now my experience, and I know everyone's experience with stroke is different. I had an ischemic stroke. It was a little vessel in the right side of the left side of my brain. So small that it took them a while to actually photograph it on those things that they do. But I was finally able to see it. And it's this little vessel that my cholesterol had been so high, and I wasn't aware because you don't have symptoms of stuff like that, that it stopped the blood flow just long enough, because the body is amazing. It stopped the flow just long enough for me to have that event. And then it started to kind of unclog itself, so to speak. But by then I'd already kind of been in the throes of things. Now, when I'm listening to you, see my legs. I mean, I could. My experience was different. I couldn't have gotten up on my own as much as I wanted to and would have willed myself to, because my right side, particularly my right leg, felt like it was lead packed in cement and then layered with another layer of lead. It was that heavy, pure muscle. I couldn't. So you didn't experience any of that in your legs. You were able to actually get up and move your legs almost immediately. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not just immediately, but
Mhm.
after the 30 days, I was able to move.
Ah,
So, but
okay.
what happened, I eventually started experiencing a lot of neuropathy in my legs. Today,
Mm-hmm.
I can walk, but I don't know when I scratch myself because I don't have a lot of feeling when I scratch my
Okay.
leg.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is pretty numb, you
Ah,
know. But so
yeah.
I live on gabapentin right now, which is
Mm-hmm.
800 milligrams, one in the morning, one in the noon, and one at night. So I'm always
Wow.
pretty drugged out, you
Wow.
know.
Okay.
But that keeps me out of pain,
Okay. Okay.
and being that my body is basically addicted to the gabapentin now, I'm
Yes.
used to it, but it makes me feel normal
Okay.
and it keeps me walking. So
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay. And so it's been 10 years, and I'm just trying to get a movement of your process in your healing and your strengthening for those of us who are listening, because some of us are relatively new, others may still be in that longer
Yes,
recovery
sir.
process. So it's very interesting for me, and which is why I love this, because I'm hearing uh, strengthening anecdotes that I'm about to ask you to share,
Yes, sir.
of dealing with that process in your healing. Because like you were speaking of being on now the pain regimens to maintain certain things early on, or after you were in your 30 days and you started to walk again. Uh, how was your body dealing with uh, uh, trying to perhaps wean yourself from that uneasiness feeling of being on the medication? Or did the medication really help you propel yourself forward in that healing process?
Oh yeah, the gabapentin definitely helped. Without the gabapentin, I'm telling you, I don't think I'd be able to walk,
Okay.
but I'd be. If you notice, my hands is not
I
straight.
was
You see that?
noticing, yes, sir. Yes, yes, yes.
See, that's the thing. My legs would not be able to move as rapidly because they'd
Mhm.
be slow. So without the medicine, basically I'll be on gabapentin probably for the rest of my life, and I'm
Okay.
okay with that because
Okay.
it helps me to be able to be independent.
Yes.
But there was a
Yes, sir.
process going forward, moving up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was a support system. I had a lot of my church family
Uh-huh.
and friends and everything. They got me up when I got out the hospital. We walked around the house, and
Yes.
my biggest fear was going out the house and walking around outside on the sidewalk,
Yes. 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 Yes.
afraid for people to see me fall, and people would stop by, man, in the car. They would honk the horn and say, "You got this. You could do it."
Yeah.
That
It's
encouragement, when I tell you, Mr.
yes.
G, that encouragement, man, I stood there and cried
Yeah.
on
Oh,
the sidewalk. I was like, wow, people really do love you today.
that's just true. See, and
And
that's
man,
what
that kept me going.
I hear you, and
It
that's
kept
what
me
I
going.
want us to remember. In spite of all the crud that we see and hear, there is still love and support in the
Yes,
world.
sir.
We are still surrounded with caring, loving, compassionate people if we
That's right.
avail ourselves enough to see it and then
That's right.
welcome it. Because society has trained us, unfortunately and subconsciously, to reject that, it seems now in today's climate. But there are a lot of caring and wonderful, compassionate people
Yes, sir.
still in the world, which is why doing this kind of thing, I think, salutes them and us, but it brings, that's why I Am Creation Stroke Survivors Support Group Dallas is so important to me. I wanted to find something, no matter what state you're in, physical state, or your living state, if you are one of the people who want to live or be able to come to an environment where you know that you're safe and that your spirit can come and commune, and you're going to have people who are supporting you and loving on you and allowing you to do the same. That's what we're building, and that's why this conversation with is so important, I believe,
That's right.
not just to myself, but to many, many people who may not be able to express what they need from another. You understand? So I'm very proud of you, Terry, because I
Thank
can
you.
see the tenacity in you. I can see the wisdom in you. And it's been 10 years, yet you are still dealing with some small, minute growth and development.
That's
So
right.
what that says to me is that this journey, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? In the healing process of having gone through something such as we have, which is a stroke. Now, conversation with is a larger map of healing, because we're healing in so many different ways in our community. Which
That's
so
right.
when we talk about healing, I invented stroke, which is a focus. But whatever the healing is for, diabetes, glaucoma, cataracts, whatever it is, high blood pressure, hypertension, or any of that, we want to talk about and allow people to come in and find a place of refuge. Get some information possibly that you can use. We want to talk about nutrition, and we want to talk about exercise and breathing and what we put in our bodies. All those things are part of this journey of healing, right? So
And I tell you, the exercise you just mentioned, exercise is a great part of healing.
yes.
And I know because we're not used to doing it, some of us, we don't do much, and we'll just sit around because we can't do much. But
Mhm.
believe it or not, just look at my face.
Yes.
You can do it.
Yes.
You can really do it. All
Yes.
you have to
Yes.
do is have a determined mind and say, you know what? I'm not used to living like this, but at some point, I don't care what any doctor, any preacher, anybody tell you, this is how things is going to be. You have to find a happy place in your life and
Mhm.
live in it.
There you go. The human spirit is that powerful, because
That's right.
we've all, particularly, and now I don't want to sound like I'm kicking down science, because science is a part of why we're both still here. But above science, there is the spirit, which I believe is God. So finding that balance of spirit and science, I believe, is one of the key factors to any healing ailment that any human being can go through. It's not all about science. It is more about spirit because I believe God created me. He created us, but he
That's right.
also created science and medicine, if you will, doctors and nurses and things to help us because he knew us. He knows us. We're gonna go through some things. Our bodies are going to go through some things because we're not all on the same level of eating and or environment and all those things, those human things that we deal in every day has a bearing on our individual health regimens. Also,
I think the most important part is realizing that the older we get,
mhm,
our body don't do this. If
ha,
we on the down, we
yes,
on the down spiral.
yes, yes,
So basically, we're not getting like Superman in our
mhm,
old age. We got to
right, right,
realize that our body starts to deteriorate.
mhm,
I don't care how healthy we are, still, we are on our way down. We're not on our way up. We
that's
might get better, but if you put it in your mind and spirit and know this is the way life is,
mhm,
because we have come from like newborn to
yes,
an adult, and
right,
we're going to return back to dust.
that's right, that's
So as long as you realize that, you're going to be okay.
right. So
And that's that happy place that I
that's
speak
that
of.
happy place.
That's a happy place. Listen, it don't come from the north
All
or
right,
the east. It come from the south.
okay. I hear you. That's fabulous. I love that. And so, in the last 10 years, what has been some of the major challenges, if you will, that you have seen yourself overcome? Two-part question. And then share with us some of the things that you did and you still do to maintain having come through and overcome those challenges. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Is that,
I need to know what I can say and what I can't say.
that
Because
it's a,
like I
oh,
told
look,
you,
we are both
I'm a
adults.
very open person.
We are both adults. This is an adult conversation. Even when I post it, it is not for children. So
Okay,
conversation,
well,
yeah.
I've overcome my sexual nature
Yes.
because they tried to attack that, but because of my libido
Mm-hmm.
is always up.
Yes, good.
It keeps my mind stimulated because a lot of times when our mind leaves us, then our body we
just
just let
kind
it
of
go.
goes. That's right. See, the mind is man. I'm telling you, excuse
It's a
me,
mindset.
and that's something we will never see. We will never see our brain, right? But without it, we are nothing.
That
Isn't
part two, um, my biggest fear that I've overcome.
mm-hmm.
I'm a football fan, and I'm always inside the stadium.
Okay?
I couldn't get up the
The
stairs.
stairs, yeah.
I couldn't do it. I tried and tried and tried and tried. And
Mm-hmm.
1 year, I think that was like this is 2023. In 2021, the start of the football season, we
Uh-huh.
was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because I'm a Roll Tide fan. Roll Tide. Um, I was in Tuscaloosa,
Yeah.
and I said, I'm gonna get up these steps today.
That
And I went up
mindset. Did you all hear what he
15
just
flights of
said?
stairs.
Say that
I
again
did it.
because I want people to understand the power of the mind.
I
Listen to
did
what
it.
he said. Repeat that for us, please, Terry. You
I
decide
stood there,
on
Mr.
this day.
G.
Uh-huh.
I stood there, Mr. G, and I said, I'm going to get up these stairs today. For the last 2 years, I couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But that particular year in 2021, I took my first step held onto the railing,
Oh,
and I made it up 15 flights of
I
stairs.
love it.
I didn't get tired.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get off balance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I walked up and I found my seat.
I know that.
And because I'm such a fan, I
Yeah,
was standing up more than I was sitting down.
I love it. That's amazing. That is
Of
awesome.
course.
That's awesome. And I'm telling you, it's like that because I finally got into outpatient rehab because I didn't have it. I dropped the ball because long story short, I was depending on a situation that did not pan out, and I
Mhm.
inadvertently missed the window of opportunity to go right from rehab to outpatient therapy. But my background is performance, right? I've trained years and years, sweat and pain and tears as a dancer and a performer. So my body, those muscle memory things kicks in immediately, right?
So
Even
let
while
me ask you a question real quick. Do you walk?
yes, I don't have the cane anymore. The wheelchair is in the garage. I'm in a regular office chair, right? I still have to, I'm working on my right side. It tends to want to do this because it thinks it has to protect itself, as the
Exactly.
neurologist said. So, but I just move it and I walk. In fact, I do I am creation stroke survivor workout every either Tuesday and
Oh,
Thursday.
I've watched it. I was very
Okay,
encouraged by
yes,
it too.
thank you. But yeah, so I'm like you. I had to first of all, I had to get out of that bed. Oh please, I had to get up out of that bed, and
Definitely.
so yeah, I was determined because Terry, once I realized that God has had blessed me to come through that experience with my mind is I think I have more, and I don't think I know there's more sensitivity and access creatively in me than before this incident. I was
That's right.
always very creative, but now it's been heightened in such a way that eh, I'm getting ready to get back on stage, man. Next fall, I will be on stage right here in Dallas, Texas, in a piece that I penned myself called The Gil Pritchard Effect.
Okay.
Yeah. So I get stronger every day, but this is not about me. We're talking to you. And you have such a you have such a rich history, 10 years after the fact, and you're doing wonderfully. Can you what we all know he's a survivor 10 years or more, right? What is it that excites you the most now on this side of your event, having grown through all the things that you have over the last 10 years? Where are you now? What is that thing that you know drives
That
you?
I can walk with my grandkids
Glory to God.
and I can hold my little baby's hand because she don't want me to hold her.
Yeah.
She's 2 and she wants to
Oh,
walk
I
and she don't
love
want
it.
Papa to hold her. So I can hold her hand and walk with her and my other 2 grandkids and I can go places with them and all they do is spend
Wow.
my money. So,
Mhm.
but if that's putting a smile on their face, I
Yes,
say go
yes,
for
yes.
it.
I love it. So
So
how many
that's what I
children?
really love.
I love it. That's so cool. How many kids do you have?
I have one daughter
One daughter, and you have three grandchildren.
and one boy that's 14. My granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, she's 9, and my little
Mhm.
bitty baby is 2.
Wow, how beautiful. Oh man. That excuse me, that is so cool. And
They
so
make me
the
so
joy
happy and
of
so
being
proud.
to be able to just maneuver with them and walk and talk and laugh and do all
Oh man,
those things.
I didn't think I'd be able to do that again. And
Wow.
that gave me a determined mind and a determined spirit. Because when
Yes.
it first happened, my grandson, um, I think he was like 3 or 4 when
Mhm.
it first happened. he would stand by my bed and cry and say,
Oh,
Papa, are you getting up? Oh, that used to break my heart
oh,
because
wow.
I was like, man, Papa can't get up. And I would always tell him, yes, I'm going to get up. But right now, Papa just don't feel good. But the
Mhm.
thought of telling him that I
Right.
can't right now,
Yeah.
oh, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah. Oh.
It was heartbreaking. So to get up out of that bed and to be where I am today, a blessing.
What a blessing, man. That is, if that is not encouragement. So one of the main things I have witnessed on myself, and you spoke to it earlier, is having a support system
That's
around
right.
you during your healing. And another reason why this is so important, because some people may not, unfortunately, have an immediate support system. So this kind of thing with conversation with an I am creation stroke survivor gives you that support system. So that's why I encourage everybody. It doesn't cost you any money, or it does cost you signing up to become a member. That's how I try to keep everybody's information as private as I can. But it's for you. It's for you to come and commune and ask questions and talk about the things you desire to see. If you have informational posts that support, the healing, look at you, go on with your bad stuff. Uh, that's what this is all about. So it's not about uh, just having a place to hear Gil talk or whatever. It is for each and every one of you to get engaged because we need each other. Look
That's
at
right.
you, Terry. Look at you. Go on with your bad self. So I'm just elated that you are 10 years out. You look like new money. I can see the joy and the love and excitement when you talk about your family. Now, here's a question. Uh, are you the first person or the only person in your family who has dealt with uh, a stroke? Or is
No,
there
no,
a
my
pattern?
cousin, he was the first person to have a stroke in the family, and
Mhm.
he's about 80% today. And
Okay,
he is, I think, like 73 or 74 now. But
okay.
he's doing, the only problem, he just can't use his right hand anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he's
Mind.
really good.
That's good. That's wonderful. So
He's
now,
really
do
good.
you remember what caused your stroke? Because I know mine was cholesterol. Do you remember what they told you?
Now, they told me I had a seizure in the brain,
Oh,
which I don't believe, but this is what they say.
mm-hmm.
Um, I was sitting in my house, and my girlfriend said, Terry. And she kept calling my name, and I kept wondering why would she just keep calling my name. And she said, Terry, you're not paying attention to me. Subconsciously, I was, but I
Right,
wasn't speaking
right,
as fast as she
right,
wanted me to speak. So she said, something is wrong with you. And I guess at that time, I was having a staring seizure because
right.
that's what they call it. So
Mm,
I ended up going to the hospital, and they begged me, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta figure out what's going on here. So
right,
I
right,
ended up
right.
in ICU overnight.
Mm-hmm.
They put a CPAP on me first.
Right.
That wasn't working. My breath was leaving my body, so they rushed me again, and I ended up on the ventilator machine.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me don't talk too much. And I said, well, I have to talk because I'm trying to figure out what's going on. They
Right.
said, if you keep talking, you may be dead in 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
But in my mind, I'm saying, my body's in my mind is telling me I'm okay, but my
Yes.
whole family is around, and I'm saying, why are you all here? I didn't know I was dying.
Wow.
So the doctor came in and said, look, we got to put the machine on you as you may not make it.
Mm.
I just went on ahead and let them
Glory
do
to
what they
God.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
got to the room. They put it on me that night, Mr. G.
Mhm.
I took the thing and broke it off my face. The lady came in and said, Mr. Terry, if you don't let me put this back on you, you may not make it to tomorrow morning. I said, well, you can say what you want to say, but tomorrow morning, I'll be in my room. I'm going to be out of here. Mr. G, the next morning, I was in my room. Look at me today.
See how God is? That's amazing.
Look at
I
me today.
applaud you. I applaud you because the power of the human spirit. If
That's
the
right.
moment we surrender to those fears and phobias, I don't
You
care
need to say
who's
that
saying
again.
that.
We need to surrender.
Yes, because the moment we do, it's done. It's a done deal.
That's
We
right.
have given up. We've said, here, take me, do whatever you want. That is a choice. It really is a spiritual choice. We don't understand that sometimes, I think, how much
This
of
is
a
so
choice
encouraging.
that is. Huh?
This is so encouraging.
It is, isn't it? I love it. Thank you. And I was led to do it. So I give God the glory because had I not been obedient, who knows? But because of the obedience, great things have just been evolving. I believe
That's
it's going
right.
to continue as long as Gilbert stays the heck out of the way and just let the spirit do what it does. I think this is something that could be long lasting, even after I'm gone, even perhaps. We'll see. But what I love about this kind of exchange, Terry, is the humanism, the humility, and that organic spirit of life that comes through as I watch you, as I feel all of that depth of love and faith. That's what the world needs more of. It's not about all these theories and all of this stuff that we get so wrapped up in. It's very basic. You called upon a truth that lived in you. You didn't worry. I mean, you heard what the doctor said, and I can attest to that for myself. But that life force that wakes us up every morning was speaking to you, and you grabbed hold of that. And look at where you are. Look at you. That's power. You can't. Money can't buy that. You
And
understand?
I feel great.
Yeah. I can tell. I can tell. I had a little bit of facial deformity. It didn't happen right away. It happened over time. And sometimes I can still feel it. But God is good. My body has just kind of transformed itself and still is. And it's because of the mindset. I refuse. I've always been, my head has always been like a brick anyway, with giving up and wars me kind of thing. No, I got a lot of my mom and dad in me. They were warriors from way back. They fought. My mother, fortunately, I was with her, right, in the back room, her final days. And Terry, it was one of the most enlightening experiences that I will ever have. And because of that experience, I didn't know how to do anything but move forward when this event happened, because it happened 3 months after I lost my mother.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with me, my losing her. It just kind of coincidentally happened during that time. But because of the strength that she had shown in the face of her knowing God is bringing her home, I learned from that. And it strengthens me. I said, no, my mother never gave up anything but prayer and praise to God. You know, we grew up coaching. So all of that stuff was still here. And so I'm saying all this to say that in the healing process, particularly when we're dealing with a physical situation where the mind and the body has been affected, if we're not able to call upon something in the core of ourselves that is anchored in a faith center, I believe, because it's different for everybody, but I believe it's harder to come up out of it as violently as you and I have, because that voice of that human spirit, which I know is the voice of the living God, speaks. And it says, like it said to you, no, I'm climbing these stairs. It's a stair. I'm climbing it. That's a specific kind of mental and spiritual connection versus those of us who allow ourselves to be determined by fear or fear of the unknown, a lack of knowing that I'm going to be okay. That's what faith is all about.
It's funny you say that because I love how you make sure that people know it's a mind thing.
Mhm.
Because here's what we need to know as survivors that
Yes.
as long as you have a support system that keeps you going,
Mhm.
and it keeps your mind thinking because they're encouraging you as they're helping you.
Yes.
That allows you as a person to dig inside of you to get to that core that you need to get stronger.
Yes.
Because when everybody's gone and you're at that house by your lonesome,
Mm-hmm.
you got to think of that encouragement. And
Yes.
that's what I say. You got to find that happy place
That's
that's going to keep you strong when you're by yourself.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because everybody can be around you all the
All the
time.
time. Holding your hand or whatever.
Reality has to set in and say, you know what? I can do this. And even if you never get back to 100%,
Mm-hmm.
in your mindset, be grateful you're still living. We're
Yes.
losing so many people daily. You got to just keep going no matter what percentage we make it to in life.
Yes.
Be happy. Because every morning I get up, I look out the window, I open my blinds up, and the first thing I say before I even say anything, I say, God, I am so grateful to be here to see another day.
I hear you.
I've never been so grateful, Mr. G.
I
I'm so grateful now. Some mornings I just cry,
It's
just being
joyful. I
alive.
know. I am the same way, Terry. People laugh at me. The nurses were laughing because some of the people, I went to, what is it? What is it called? Encompass. I was in Encompass rehab in Texas. It's a very competent rehab center. They have deep, rich history, right? Well, one of the nurses, because of my tenacity, got me in, and so I was saying to the nurses, I would say things like, "You all just don't," because I would be doing things. They think, "How are you able to do that?" I said, "Look, I'm so thankful to be alive. There's nothing here that can make me feel like I'm handicapped or I'm not sick.
That's
I
right.
was rejoicing right away because life, man, has become so sweet to me.
I'm serious.
It is true. And so people, the things we take for granted. See, a lot of us don't even have to think about walking or in the beginning, talking, forming words, if you will. That's just stuff that we normally do. So we just do it. We just run in it. But once it's been challenged, I took on a whole new regard for our body temples. It is a magnificently made thing. God is deep. Our minds, the art of just simply all the energy it takes, all the brain power, and the physicality it takes to take a simple step once
Oh
it's been
man.
challenged. And you know what
Oh
I'm saying?
man. I know about
Yeah,
this simple
yeah,
step.
yeah. So we take that stuff for granted
Of
until
course, until
so,
it's taken from us.
until it's taken. So we are blessed. We are doubly blessed because now we can laugh and talk about and share the joy
And
of
Mr.
having.
G, I want to share this real quick.
Okay.
I have diabetes. I
Okay.
have high blood pressure,
Oh
you
wow.
know, but I keep reiterating that mind thing you always talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about your self-esteem.
Yes.
I can't see out of this eye, Mr. G.
Are you
I'm
kidding
almost
me?
totally blind in my left eye.
Oh,
But nothing takes my spirit from me.
that's right. I would have never ever known that had you not mentioned it.
I cannot see out of my left eye.
Wow. Wow.
Mr. G, nothing takes my spirit. Nothing.
I hear you. That's a
My
blessing.
mother,
I
man,
feel it. I
my
see.
mother was the most strongest Christian woman I know. She
Yes.
has did a work for the Lord that blessed us as
Mhm.
her kid.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, Mr. G, her spirit, it just lives through me.
Yes, I know. Look, you can't see my mom now, but she lives in me, and that's the joy of carrying on too, because
That's right.
isn't that amazing? We're still yielding and wielding their spiritual, all that ancestral greatness. It helps us because we don't. People think when sometimes I think when we lose people we love that they're gone. Physically, yes, their bodies are no longer here, but they are very much alive, right here, right here. You
That's
understand? So
right.
that's what I'm feeling from you. And that's the joy that keeps you moving forward. All of that rich, deep in the soul kind of southern love.
My brothers and sisters are still battling because I just buried my mom November of last year. And
That's a
they
blessing.
really having a hard time, but I mean, she prepared me for all this. So like, I
Yeah,
shedded a tear or two,
yeah,
but I was really good because man, Mrs. G, my mother did her work for the Lord. I know
yes,
she got her crown.
yes.
So
Mine
there was no need for me to fall weak because
yes,
mama is gone.
you're right.
We
Right.
have to learn how to carry the torch
That's
and
right.
keep going.
That's it. That is
And Mr. G, let me tell you something. You is gonna be a blessing for many people if they just listen to you.
Mhm. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you. I
I
applaud you.
appreciate
And
you.
I really, really, really thank you for choosing me to be here.
You know what's interesting though? See how God is. I literally asked God, I need you to show me who the next right person is for conversation with. Now, mind you, I would, you go to people you know first, right? Everyone that I asked prior to God putting that in my spirit for you to ask you had other commitments for those who are working professionals, but they came up with some other whatever, and I don't doubt it, but they were not available because they weren't the right one.
That's right.
They were not the right one. You are. And so when you and I started talking and it went ding, I said, I'm gonna ask him. And the spirit said, ask him. And here we are. I'm a firm believer that we are right where we need to be when
That's
we're
right.
supposed to be there if we're trusting and walking our own path. If I'm trusting that shut up phone, uh, uh, when I commit my works to him, he directs my path. I'm a living witness of that. And I'm not a holy roller. I don't claim to be anybody's authority on any of that stuff. I just know what I believe, and I know how God has shown me his manifestations in my own life, right? I trust that enough to really trust it. And here we are because I trusted him to. I didn't even worry about it. And it took the last episode that we filmed was probably, oh, about maybe 3, 4 months ago. About. And I wanted to be more consistent with, but I just relaxed because I had already asked God to show me the next right person to bring on. And Terry, I'm so proud that it's you because the love and the experience and the maturity and the wisdom that is coming from you, I think is going to resonate with so many people. So many people who can
This
relate
is
to
really
this.
good.
Yeah, thank
This
you.
is really, really, really good.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
mean, because as you know, I have my own little group that I do.
Yes, you were telling me. Tell
Um,
us about
and
that. So we,
it's to encourage. I have a group. It's called Speaking Truth,
mhm.
Being Real, Simply Authentic,
Okay.
and it's not a
Speaking truth,
play group.
being real, simply authentic. I
That's
like
right. And if you're not real, you don't need to be in my group because
that.
sometimes I could be a little rough
Yeah,
because that's what it's all about.
yes.
I mean, we've been taking the slap on the wrist all our lives. It's time for
Yes.
somebody to step up and be real
Right.
and
Exactly.
speak truth
Speak the
and
truth.
allow the person to be authentic.
Yes.
Because most people never make it to be their authentic self. But Mr. G,
Mm.
I really believe in my heart and soul,
Mhm.
I am living my authentic life.
Yeah, authentic truth. I love it. That's powerful,
Most
Terry.
people take all their lives to reach that point. Mr. G, I'm at mine.
I
I
hear
live a
you.
very peaceful life in Georgia, in
Yes.
Columbus, Georgia. And when
Yes.
I tell you I am super, super, super happy, I can eat in a happy medium,
Yeah,
I can have happy friends, and everything that surrounds me is happy.
I know that's right. That's a blessing. That is so cool. So guys, look, and he's not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day to get this, to be here, to be in that state. It's organic because he has lived enough to know what it means to be happy, to take in all of life's jewels and bake that pie, if you will, to be happy. People spend, yeah, Terry, you know this, people spend all this money every day trying to get here, trying to get to that place, that happy place that you're sharing with us now.
Well, let me tell you, happiness is not for sale, and now there is peace. You can't go to no store. You can't go to the mall.
Right.
You can't go to church. You
Uh-huh.
can't go anywhere and find it because it comes from here.
It comes from you. Come on, you
If you never, ever, 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 ever get a chance to do it, you have wasted your life.
now. Wow. Wow.
Your life is
That's
all for
real
naught.
talk. That's real talk. That's real talk. So now I love it. Getting back to uh, the healing of stroke victims, since we both have had strokes. And then interesting, we both have had strokes. I could tell by looking at this, in particular. I not that that should be an indication, but uh, sometimes I forget because I feel so good. I feel like I can go hurdle trees. Sometimes I forget that I've gone through this event because and time is moving, and I tend to yak. For those who are new in the event of healing, what takeaways would you, as a survivor over 10 years, and having come full circle with who you are in your spiritual life, your faith, your family, what anecdotes would you have to say or to give to people who are dealing with the onset of recovery that may be having a struggle in their minds to give up or to surrender? What would you say to those
I say believe in yourself. Simple. Just believe in yourself. The people that surround you and you have a support system, Don't run them because I promise you, you need them. It
Mm,
keeps you from going into depression because you're not the same person that you used to be.
mm-hmm.
Let people help you because we do need people. We really do. We can't do it on our own. So just remember that. And this last thing that I can say to encourage them, and I'm certain y'all heard me say this a couple of times already. Find that happy place that lives within you
Mm,
that's going to keep this going. And I'm telling you, one day you'll look back on all this and say to yourself, I made it. And
great.
I am who I am.
And I love. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's please give Brother Terry Ellis our deepest regards and thanks and gratitude for sharing his time and his wisdom and his love of people and humanity with us on this episode of Conversation with. Thank you, Terry Ellis. You rock, my brother. I'm so proud of
Thank you
you.
very
I'm
kindly.
so blessed by you. And so thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you right back here the next time on the next episode of Conversation with an I Am Creation. Again, let's give Terry Ellis a great gratitude and thanks. God bless you. Brother Gil loves you. God loves you too. You all have a beautiful rest of your day.